There is a video out there right now with over 600,000 views giving you 7 great reasons to file for Social Security at 62. And I'll be straight with you, the guy's not wrong about all of them. But here's what gets ignored in that video and the dozen others just like it. Every one of those reasons quietly assumes you've already got money, a portfolio, a paid-off house, options. And if that's not you, if you started saving for retirement late, if this check isn't fun money, it's the money, then 5 of those great reasons are the single most expensive mistake you'll ever make. So in this video, I present you with the other side. 7 reasons not to file at 62. The side built for people like us. And here's why that matters so much for folks like us. Nearly 4 out of 5 retirees lean on that Social Security check to cover the basics. About 39% of older adults live on it almost entirely. And for roughly 1 in 7 people over 65, it's more than 90% of everything coming in. Meanwhile, the average 401k in this country is sitting around $127,000. That's not a retirement, that's a couple of good years. So that old 3-legged stool they used to talk about, pension, savings, Social Security, for a lot of us, 2 of those legs got sawed off. The check is the plan, which means the age you file isn't a small decision. For most of us, it's the single biggest money decision of the whole retirement. And you only get to make it once. Quick thing before we dig in. Every week, I take one of these decisions that feels too big to even touch, and I break it all the way down until you've actually got an answer, not just more stuff to lay awake thinking about. If that's your kind of channel, subscribe and I'll keep them coming. All right, let's get on to reason 1. Reason 1, and it's the one all other 6 stand on. File at 62, and you take a 30% pay cut for the rest of your life. Now, your brain might want to skate right past the word permanent, so let me slow it all the way down. This cut isn't for a year. It's not a cut until you make it back. The check you start at 62 is the same check you're cashing at 82 and 92. It does not reset, not ever. Here's what that actually looks like. Same person, same exact work history. File at 62, you collect about 70 cents on the dollar. Hold out into 70, and you collect $1.24. The check at 70 is roughly 77% bigger. In 2026 money, that's the difference between about $2,900 a month and over $5,000. Same guy. The only thing that changed was the date he signed the paper. One of those 2 is comfortable, the other one's doing the math in the cereal aisle. So that's reason 1, and honestly, it's not the one that even scares me the most. Before I keep going, I want to give you one thing to watch for, because once you see it, you can't unsee it, and it'll change how you hear every piece of Social Security advice for the rest of your life. I went and watched that 600K view video, then I watched a bunch more like it, and they all share one invisible assumption baked right into the advice. They're talking to someone who already won, someone with a fat investment account to protect, someone with so much in traditional retirement accounts that they've got a tax problem at 73, someone whose savings can fund the fun years while the Social Security check just sits there and grows. That's not us, and nobody's making content for people like us. So as we go through these, I want you to keep one question in your head. Who is this advice actually for? Because the smartest sounding reasons to file early are the ones built for people who already have money, not for people like us. 3 of them are coming up, and we'll flag them as we go. Okay, now on to reason 2. You're freezing yourself at the smallest check you will ever get, and there's no undo button. We treat 62 like the starting line. It's not, it's the floor. It is the smallest your benefit is ever going to be. And once you've claimed and a year goes by, that's it. There's no, you know what, let me wait a few more years after all. That door closes. You're picking the smallest version of your income for what could be a 30-year retirement. And you're signing it in pen, no eraser, no do-over. And think about who could at least afford to get that wrong. Not the guy with the portfolio, us. The people for whom that check is the whole floor are the exact people getting told to lock in the lowest one. And it keeps going. Reason 3. You'll walk away from the best guaranteed return left on planet Earth. So every year you hold off past your full retirement age, your benefit grows about 8%. Guaranteed. Not if the market cooperates. Guaranteed. Show me where else a regular person gets a guaranteed 8% a year right now. No savings account, no bond, nothing can touch it. This is the one that nearly fooled me, by the way, because that gut voice, take it, it's mine, who knows what happens? This is the exact spot where it bites. And that voice will talk you into handing back the only guaranteed raise anybody's ever going to offer you. Don't let it make that call for you. Now, reason 4, and this one almost nobody says out loud. Filing early shrinks your raises too. Every year, Social Security gives a cost of living bump. In 2026, it was 2.8%. But here's the quiet trick. It's a percentage. 2.8% of a bigger check is more actual dollars than 2.8% of a smaller one. So by locking in that smaller benefit at 62, you don't just get a smaller check today. You get smaller raises stacked on top of it every single year for the rest of your life. It compounds against you. And then there's reason 5. If you're still working, they take a chunk of it right back. A lot of folks file at 62 and keep a job going, and I get it. The bills don't stop at 62. But before you hit full retirement age, there's an earnings limit. In 2026, it's about $24,500. Earn more than that, and Social Security withholds $1 for every 2 you make above it. Now, I want to be fair because you'll get this information wrong everywhere else online. That money is not gone forever. At full retirement age, they recalculate and credit it back to you in a bigger monthly check. So don't let anybody scare you that advantages. But sit with what it's actually telling you. If you're earning enough to trip that limit, that's the loudest possible signal that you might not need to file yet. You took the permanent cut, and for that whole first stretch, you barely even saw the money. That brings us to reason 6, and this one is a doozy. Filing early is canceling your own insurance policy. Here's what most of us get completely backwards. We treat Social Security like a lottery ticket we're racing to cash before the number gets called. It's not a lottery, it's insurance. Insurance against the single scariest thing that can happen to people like us, living a long life with the money already gone. The SSA's own tables figure somebody who makes it to 62 lives on average to about 84. So grabbing it early, get mine while I still can, is really just a bet that you won't live very long. And if you win that bet, if you go early, you don't get to enjoy the winnings. If you lose, you live to 90 and the smallest check you could have picked. That's a bet where winning still hurts. Let that one sit for a second. And the last one, reason 7, and this one's for married folks. If you're single, hang on with me 30 seconds because there's a whole other separate trap waiting for you, and I'll point you to it at the end. If you're the higher earner in your house, the day you file doesn't just set your check. It sets the check your husband or wife has to live on after you're gone. When you pass, your spouse can step up to your benefit. That's called the survivor benefit, but it's built on what you locked in. File at 62, take that 30% haircut, and you've just shrunk the check your widow or widower lives on, maybe for 10 or 15 years alone. Now, there is a floor. If you'd already claimed, it won't drop below about 82.5% of your full benefit. And the math shifts if you pass before claiming. So this is exactly the kind of thing to run in your own account. But the point stands, and it's a heavy one. When you're married, this was never a solo decision. It follows the person you love for the rest of their life too. Okay, I told you to flag the reasons that only work if you're already rich. And here they come, because this is where that 600K view video and I really part ways. He gives 3 reasons to file early that sound genuinely smart, and they are smart for the wrong person. Number 1, file early so you can enjoy your go-go years. Spend it while you still got your knees. And look, if you've got a pension and a portfolio, front load the fun, God bless. But think about who you are. If money's already tight, the move that feels good at 63, grabbing the smallest possible check so you can spend it today, is the exact move that leaves you most exposed at 83 when the medical bills land and the check is 30% smaller forever. The people who can least afford to front load are the ones being told to front load. Funny how that keeps happening. Number 2, file early because the market might crash and you don't want to sell your investments at a loss. That one's really clever for somebody with a big investment account to protect. But if you're like a lot of people watching this video, there is no giant portfolio sitting there in the first place. So what exactly are we protecting? You'd be permanently cutting your one guaranteed check to solve a problem you don't even have. That's not a hedge. That's just a smaller check with extra steps. And reason 3, file early to manage your taxes. Get ahead of the tax torpedo, start drawing down before those required withdrawals hit at 73. Real strategy for people with big traditional retirement accounts. If you've got 6 figures stacked in a traditional IRA throwing off mandatory withdrawals, fine, talk to a tax person, there's something there. But for most of us, that's a rich man's problem wearing a late starter's coat. You can't optimize a torpedo you don't have. See the pattern? 3 smart-sounding reasons, and they are all quietly assuming you've already won the game. We are not playing the game. We're playing a different one, and it deserves a different answer. Now, I promised you the 2 times I tell you to file at 62 anyways, because if I sat here and said never, I'd be doing the exact same thing that I'm warning you about, handing you a one-size answer that doesn't fit your actual life. So 1, consider filing at 62 if your health is genuinely bad or your family history is rough. If a long life isn't the bet the odds are making, then waiting for a bigger check you might never collect makes no sense. Take it, use it, you've earned every dollar, and there's no shame in that math. Number 2, your spouse is the higher earner and they are seriously ill. Then the healthier, lower-earning one of you can file early, pull some income in now, and step up to that bigger survivor benefit later. And reverse it, in that situation, the sick higher earner generally should not rush to grab theirs early, because that's the check the survivor inherits. That's not a mistake. Played right, that's one of the smartest moves on the whole list. Outside of those 2, for most of us late starters, all 7 reasons stand. Now, I know somebody out there is thinking, that's great, Frank, but I need the money. I don't have the luxury of waiting. And if that's you, hear me clearly. No shame, none. You take care of you. But before you sign, let me ask you one honest question. Can you bridge it, even a little? Because it was never just 62 or wait till 70. Every single year in between counts, and it counts for life. 62 locks you in at 70%. Hang on 1 year to 63, and you're at about 75. 2 years to 64, about 80. So bridging just those 2 years bumps your check roughly 14% bigger forever. Make it all the way to the full retirement age, and you're looking at about 43% more than that 62 number. And if you're married, you just raise your spouse's survivor's check right along with it. Now, one caveat here, this is not me telling you to white knuckle it to 70 eating ramen. That's me telling you that 1 or 2 years of part-time work or trimming somewhere might be the highest paying job you'll ever take. A little patience pours a bigger permanent floor under the rest of your life. And here's the part nobody tells us late starters. You don't need the perfect answer. You just need to not grab the worst one on reflex. So there it is, 7 reasons not to file at 62. It's a permanent 30% cut. It's the smallest check you'll ever get signed in pen. You hand back a guaranteed 8% raise. Your cost of living bumps shrink right along with it. The earnings test claws it back if you're still working. You cancel your own longevity insurance, and you drag down your spouse's survivor check. 2 exceptions though, genuinely bad health or a sick higher earning spouse. Everybody else, think long and hard before you touch it at 62. And do me one favor, run your own numbers in your My Social Security account or sit down with the SSA or a fee-only planner before you lock in anything permanent. I'm a guy who did the homework. I am not your financial advisor. And listen, you are not behind because you're sitting here asking these questions. You're ahead of almost everybody just for knowing the check at 70 is 77% bigger than it is at 62. Most people never find that out until it's too late. You found out on time, and that counts for something. And if you're single, I told you I'd come back to you. Going solo comes with its own set of traps, and I made a whole video on them, the brutal reality of retiring single and how to actually fix it. It's right there on screen right now. Go and watch that one next. I'll see you over there.